Language and literacy, although commonly mistaken as each other, are individual concepts. This presentation will distinguish between the two, as well as highlighting their importance within education and suggesting how elements can be implemented within the classroom. Fellows in Oakley define language as a group and combination of words that is the prime means of communication between people. It is an integral component of human activity and plays a dominant part in the experiences and events of everyday life. Whereas literacy is recognised as the ability to effectively utilise language in all possible forms. Literacy is now involved in a variety of different modes of communication, such as talking, reading, writing, listening, and watching, as well as music, storytelling, media, technology, and visual arts. Being literate allows a person to access, analyse, evaluate, and understand information, as well as express thoughts and feelings, portray ideas and opinions, socialise, interact, and participate with others. Ultimately, literacy and language are not the same, nor are they alternative to each other. They are interrelated concepts and are dependent on each other's developments, as they are both necessary assets to be able to succeed in the conventional world. Language is seen as the base for all literacy skills. Humans first learn language through interaction with others. Once language is established, it becomes the foundation for all future learning developments. Interactive talk can expand vocabularies, which becomes a resource for building threshold literacy skills, such as phonical awareness, the ability to decode print, boosting reading comprehensions, and enriching written compositions. Essentially, there is no such thing as written and/or oral language without the involvement of literacy, and there is no such thing as literacy without oral and/or written language. In relation to language and literacy, the Australian curriculum works to develop students' knowledge, understanding, and skills in listening, reading, viewing, speaking, writing, and creating. In particular, they identify that Year 2 students should have the ability to communicate effectively with a range of people, explore a variety of texts such as picture books, digital stories, film, non-fiction, poetry, performance, and articles, can access text for enjoyment, and can use different modes to create text themselves. The Australian curriculum suggests that in Year 2, students should be exposed to texts that include language features such as varied sentence structure, some unfamiliar vocabulary, a significant number of high-frequency sight words, and words that need to be decoded phonetically, a range of punctuation conventions, as well as illustrations and diagrams that support and extend printed text. They should also be provided with the opportunity to create a range of imaginative, informative, and persuasive texts, including imaginative retellings, reports, performances, poetry, and expeditions. An educator in a Year 2 classroom can focus on developing language skills by looking at the Australian curriculum strands, Language for Interaction. More specifically, using the concept descriptor of understand that language varies when people take on different roles in social and classroom interactions, and how the use of key interpersonal language resources varies depending on context. To effectively implement this content within the classroom, a lesson could be run where the students are divided into multiple groups and told a common phrase. The students can then discuss the meaning of that said phrase in their small groups. Once they have determined their own collective definition, the students can then conduct a play where they incorporate that phrase and their perceived definition of it in an appropriate context. When complete, each group can present their play to the class, allowing the students to identify that words have multiple meanings, and depending on who they are said by, the tone it is delivered in, and the context behind it, they can convey a completely different message. When exploring literacy skills inside a Year 2 classroom, the strand creating text can be focused on. More so, the provided content descriptor of rereading and editing text for spelling, sentence-bound punctuation, and text structure. To implement this learning into a Year 2 classroom, children can be provided with a short passage that contains incorrect spelling, bad punctuation, and poor sentence structure. The students can then go forward to correct the mistakes with a red pen to the best of their ability. Once the students have had the chance to fix the passage themselves, that passage can be brought up onto the whiteboard where both the teacher and the students can discuss what they believe is wrong with it, and correct it collectively to ensure the perfect passage has been created. This allows them to become more proficient at recognising mistakes and familiarises them with appropriate use of spelling and/or punctuation, allowing them to better implement it themselves when they are writing next. Essentially, literacy and language, although individual concepts, are interrelated. They are reliant on each other's abilities to be able to further develop and are essential assets required to be able to succeed. Education places a great deal of focus on these concepts as they are dominant within society.